Welcome. I'm Terry, one of the consumer technology specialists, and today we are going to look at a special kind of Excel chart. While you may know that Excel has line charts and bar charts and pie charts, for example, you may not know that it also has map charts. Now, this is a really interesting feature in that maps were available in Excel versions prior to 2000, and then they were discontinued until the 2010 version. In that time, people who knew about the maps kind of forgot they ever existed. But now map charts are back and very much improved. Just think, if you have numeric data for geographic areas, a map chart can make your information come alive and make it even more visually appealing and understandable for your audience. Let's look at a few examples and see if you agree. For our first example today, we are going to create a map based on this spreadsheet of these states in the Midwest. You can see in column A that we've listed the states in alphabetical order, and then in column B we have the area of those states in square miles. To create a map, we'll simply select the column headings in A2 and B2, and then we'll select all of the cells that relate to those states down through B14. At this point, we simply go to the top of the ribbon, kind of really above it, and on the left-hand side, just to the right of Home, we'll click Insert. In the middle of this Insert ribbon, we have a Charts group, and to the right of the word Charts, we can see the button for Maps, which we will click. And then there's a second step with maps where you will always also want to click on this filled map option. Well, from here, we've really just already created a map of the states in the Midwest, and it shows them in relationship to the rest of the United States. If that's all that you need to do, then we could even click that chart title and type in Midwest. Click outside of that box and say, this is pretty good. The color coding and the legend shows you that color coding, shows you that these smaller states are in a very light blue, the larger states are in a dark blue. But what if you want to see what your other options are? Maybe you want to focus in on those states just a little bit more. How could we do that? Well, what we can do is right-click on the states, and it brings up a shortcut menu where the last choice here is Format Data Series. So we'll click that, and it brings up the Format Data Series pane on the right. And you will probably always at least think about going to these series options and doing several of those along the way. So let's look at the map area, our first choice here. And let's check out this multiple countries and regions option. Oh, wow. Well, with this one, we can certainly see those Midwestern states, and we can see them in relation not only to the rest of the United States, but we can see Canada, and I think that's Greenland. We can see Mexico, startings of Central America. So yes, we can really see kind of our place in the world compared to other countries and certainly within the US. But maybe that is too far out and we want to be able to see a little more detail. In that case, we can simply go back to our Format Data series, and instead of multiple countries and regions, let's check out that country region. And yes, now we're back to that default United States version. But what if I want to see the Midwest states in even a little bit more detail? Well, let's go back to the map area, click the drop down and select only regions with data. Oh, now I can see all of the states that are in that spreadsheet, and I can see very easily that According to the legend, this is probably the smallest state, and some of these really dark blue ones must be the larger states. And then, of course, we have states that are in between. What I would like to see, though, is the name of those states because, well, some of them look pretty much the same. I think maybe I could get confused if I didn't know exactly where the states are. So let's go over to the right to the map labels, click the drop down. And I know from experience that for me personally, this show all is really the best. So I'm going to select show all. And now I have the names of all of those states. If I rest my mouse on any of them, it gives me the exact information of what those square miles are. Wow, this is pretty informative, isn't it? And a very easy map. Now, the one other thing that I might want to do that's relatively quick and easy is to change the color coding. Let's say for whatever reason the blue just isn't quite what you like. As long as we're clicked in the chart, the map chart, we can go up above the ribbon, kind of on the far right of that ribbon, and it brings up a contextual tab called Chart Tools. Now, Chart Tools has two sub-tabs, Design and Format. Let's stay in the Design tab and on the left go to Change Colors. When you click that drop down, now we have some color options as I hover over. Oh, here's kind of orange, here's green, gold, gray, and maybe one of those works better. So be sure to choose the one that makes the best sense to you. Now that we've worked with our first example, let's create another map. To do that, we're going to go down to the lower left of our workbook where we can see the worksheet tabs, and we're going to find the KC Metro tab and click on it. When we look at this worksheet, we can see that our spreadsheet now is about the KC metro area. And in column A, we have the counties that are included in the metro area. In column B, we have the estimated population of each one of those counties. Now, you may have noticed that I've also included the state abbreviation for each one of those counties. And that's something that I kind of learned the hard way because the county names in other states are the same as some of the counties that we have in this area. So to keep Excel from being confused, I found that it was just really helpful to add in those state abbreviations as well. Well, let's create our map, and we can do that by starting with the column headings in A2 and B2, and then selecting all that county information down through B16. We'll do just as we did before. We'll go back to the upper left of the ribbon, and just to the right of home, we'll click Insert. And then in the middle of the ribbon where we have the charts group, we'll go to the kind of right-hand side of that particular group, find the Maps button, click, and then make that second click for Filled Maps. When we look at this US map and then look to find our metropolitan area, I'm kind of stunned at how small it really looks. So if I want to give people any kind of detail about our metro area, this is probably not the view that I would use. But for right now, let's go to the chart title and call it something like KC Metro and click out of there. And then just as we did before, we're going to right click on our map. When we get the shortcut menu, we're going to go down to Format Data Series and select that. And again, that's going to bring up our Format Data Series pane. We'll go down to the second box in the series options, which is Map Area. We'll click the drop down. And since we already can see the country or region, I think we better just go with the more compact view of only regions with data and click that, which brings up the counties. Now I have to confess, I, past Jackson County, get a little confused. So while this is great, I think I need to add some detail to make this really make sense. Um, Again, we have the blue color coding, and the light blue is for the smaller populated counties, and of course, the darker blue is the counties with the most populations. Well, since I really need to figure out where these or what these counties are, let's go over to the right to the map labels and click the drop down. And just so you can see what this best fit only looks like, let's select it. And you know, it's not bad, except when you go to the left, the Kansas side, you can see that you have two counties that don't get a label because those names, Leavenworth and Wyandotte, are so wide that they're actually wider than the space that's allotted for those counties. So those names are just dropped off on the map. To me, that's a little disappointing. So again, I'm going to go back to the map labels, click the drop down, and select Show All. While it doesn't show the complete name of Leavenworth and Wyandotte, at least I get a hint of what those counties are. So to my mind and for my purposes, this makes the best sense for me. Now, one of the things that I notice here also is that it's kind of hard to see where the county borders are, and I'd like to have those just a little more distinct. To do that, I need to go up to the chart tools, and since our map is selected, the chart tools are active, and let's go to the Format tab. Now, the Format tab lets us put in some of the finer details to a map, and as it so happens, sort of in the middle of this ribbon, there's a Shape Outline button that when I drop it down, oh my gosh, I can create shape outlines in all sorts of colors. And then as I look down, I could even define the weight of those lines and, add some dashes and dots and whatnot. We'll stay pretty much to the more simple idea here, but I'm going to change those to black just so I can see them better. And wow, now I can really see the county border lines so much easier, especially with Lafayette. I had no idea that it was quite as crinkly as it really is. Well, something else that we might want to do is to change the color coding again. We kind of have this just shades of blue coloring. And while we looked last time at the Design tab, let's go over to the Format Data Series pane on the right. And below the series options, we have this series color choice, which if I expand it, is going to let me change the color options. Right now, I'm in this two color sequential light blue to dark blue choice, and I could do some playing with this where maybe I change that light blue to, I don't know, a light green. And maybe I think that helps, especially with those kind of mid-range colors. Or what I can do to make this even pop more is to go to diverging three color. Maybe not those three colors though. So I can choose the ones that I want, and I may make some choices here that are a little bit more extreme. Well, let's go with, for the minimum color, let's go with, well, a sort of a medium blue. And then for the middle value, let's go for kind of a dark gray. And for the highest value, let's just go crazy here. And in the standard colors, let's pick that bright red. Oh, so now I'm going from blue to gray to red. And this kind of really helps me see those mid-range colors just a little bit better. As you've probably noticed by now, when you create a map chart, you have all sorts of choices that you can make, and it will really be a good thing maybe to just play with the coloring or with the outlines of those colors. Add labels, remove labels, whatever you want to do. But in the long run, I think you're going to find that map charts can be a real help in conveying the message that you want to share. To learn more about Excel, be sure to explore our online resources at mymcpl.org/online-learning. There you will find resources such as lynda.com, Who Knew It, and Learning Express Library. Be sure to join us next week, May 13th at 1 o'clock, when Paige will be presenting Apps for Surviving Social Distancing.